This is a new teaching format for us. It's of course Mike here. I'm here with Cotton. Hey, Cotton.
Hey, how's it going?
Well, Cotton, I know that Project X and Project J members are going to be fired up by this. This is really cool today. We've got Cotton Thursday, a week ago Thursday, we did that killer unfair advantages acceleration webinar, and people were freaking out. You've gotten a lot of feedback about this yourself, right?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone seems really excited about it.
So the thing is, the OMG, the way David designs it, the way that we, me and Cotton and Greg and Jimmy and our whole team, the way that we roll things out, Fletch and Joe, is that whenever we're going to share something new, that's all new, and I've never been more excited about anything new. I mean, not since we actually introduced our OMG NHB coaching program. Not since then, not since 2.5 years ago, have I been more excited or equally excited as I am right now with the director's cut, and that's palatable inside of OMG. People are so fired up about it. Now that's not out yet, so if you're watching this and that's already out, then this predates that, but that's okay. This is going to be great information for you. And the way OMG works is that whenever we come out something new, that gives us the opportunity to share even more with our existing NHB members. So even though the director's cut hasn't even come out, because of the incredible energy surrounding it, that's got us fired up. And so we're introducing 2 new things today. One that we're just going to preview, and then one that we're going to really get focused and in depth with. And what we're previewing, by the way, is Hangouts. So you've seen us probably a little bit more and more sharing Hangout webinars, and we're getting more and more into that. We're going to be using Hangouts more and more to rank for our own affiliate stuff and for client stuff. We're going to get into that. Now, with Hangouts, very powerful. They're not as stable. Okay, it's a little bit more like comparing Thor to the Incredible Hulk, right? The Hulk, very powerful, not entirely stable, but certainly gets you playing with power right away. There's not a big cost with it anyways, so in a lot of situations with using Hangouts, and we're going to be talking about this more and more, how you can leverage Hangouts to rank. But I wanted to put that on your mind as you're enjoying this Hangout training video. Now, we're filming this just quietly between me and Cotton right now, although this will be in your members area. So there's nobody watching this. We can't be getting feedback on it. But this is a teaching format that we're using, and Cotton is going to take you inside to see the second thing, and I think this is blockbuster. This is something that's very stable, very, very powerful. Of course, if it changes, we'll update you. But Cotton, this is something you are making a killing with, and when you are just getting started with OMG, this is so fresh in your mind. You, me, and David Mills were just on the phone, and you were talking about how many sites that you have ranked with our traditional OMG method, and how much money you've made with that. But you, in many cases, can double or even more your income. I mean, this is something that you're telling us folks can 10 times their investment on Project X and Project Juggernaut just with what they're going to learn today on this Hangout from you. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's all based upon OMG staying ahead of the curve. We're like finding out that over 60% of all searches in 2015 are going to come from a mobile device, either a tablet or a cell phone, and that's what this is leading into. So I think this is going to be pretty powerful for everyone.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that iPhones and iPads and Droids and Kindles are now accounting for a massive volume of the searches. And it's funny, I was just talking to Chris Marshall, who's an ace. Love Chris. Chris is over in the UK, and he showed me a site recently where he was getting, he had the metrics on whether it was a tablet or whether it was from a notebook or computer, laptop, or whatever, or whether it was from a mobile phone. And in this particular niche, this is an affiliate site that was making him, like around $500 a day, so significant income from AdSense and from some CPA stuff. And he was getting in over 50%, I think, or maybe it was like 45, 50% were coming in from like iPads, from tablets. And then it was like some amount from iPhones, like 20% from iPhones, and then 20% or so from computers. So it was just this massive number. You never know, and this is something as with the iPhone, and now, Cotton, you and I both have the iPhone 6 Plus. I mean, this is a 6, and then you and I both have 6 Plus. I don't know what my 6 Plus is. Here's my 6 Plus, right? So it's funny because here's a 5, right? And you had a 5 before, and then here is a 6, right behind it. So you can see the 6 is bigger than the 5, and then here's the Plus,
right?
Right? It's almost an iPad, right? Like, and then as the iPads are getting smaller, it's almost like they're coming together. So the reason I say that is just having this flexibility, Cotton, it gives us so much power with our marketing. So now, one of the ways that you're leveraging this and you're making huge money doing this is with those local listings, the map listings on Google. Can you explain that?
Sure. What it basically is when you're searching from a mobile device, whether it be a cell phone or an iPad or anything, what's happening is the map pins, is what I like to call them, or the local citations, are coming up first, and then the listings are on back. And still, when you even do a search from your PC, if the site's very powerful, there might be 1 or 2 sites above the pins, and then there's still the map citations and the map pins there. So it's a different way to rank altogether, but extremely powerful to do. And it's a totally separate service that you can sell. So if you go in and sell SEO, I've been able to double what I've been able to charge someone by offering them to get them inside the 7-pack, because it's very, very, very powerful.
Well, and it's even more than that. It's even more abundant, because in some cases you'll make a sale on doing the traditional SEO that you never would have made if you hadn't had a foot in the door with doing the local listings.
Absolutely, and vice versa. They complement each other very well. There's some people that have reached out to me that just want on this inside the 7-pack. So, and then once I've showed them how powerful it is to also be ranked, then you double your money right down. So someone that's $2,000 turns into a $4,000 or $5,000 deal instantly once you show them, or it extends out months and months that you can be bringing the money in. So what would be a 6 or 7 month client can turn into now a 12 to 15 month client with SEO, making thousands of dollars a month just by offering different services.
And you're helping your client make more money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's great. Well, now this is something that you have that you've touched on before out there. Today we're going to go much more in depth. We're going more in depth by giving because again, something that you might share a little bit in the public, a little bit for a brief time in public. Once we get inside of Project X and Project Juggernaut, we're going to be getting much more in depth, both with regards, we're giving you more framing on this, which is important. Understanding the context of the situation is going to give you much, much more power in leveraging this technique, and you're going to teach quite a bit that you didn't share before. So it's really quite a powerful overall situation here. Now, can you talk a little bit about, before we kind of get to the actual step-by-step of it, can you talk a little bit about marketing this technique and how you use it in money getting?
Sure. How I've went out and marketed out is I've showed how important it is through local search. When I've used several other techniques to do it, which is the same way as SEO. They've contacted me through the teachings that I've had for OMG to rank it, or I've reached out to them the same way that I would be SEO, and I find out what would be the easiest for them. If they're in a very non-competitive niche, what I would recommend for them is to go with the map pins or the Google My Business is what it's called right now. Then I would say then we can work on SEO later. It's what I can get them the fastest amount of calls for and get them the fastest amount of revenue. Generally, if there's no competition in a niche, or if I see that there's only 3 people that are in a 7-pack, that it's not full, obviously it's crazy for me not to offer that for them first. By the time I create the Google Plus page, build the citations, all of a sudden, boom, they're right there on page 1 instantly. So it's whatever I can do that's going to give them the most revenue the fastest is what I recommend for them to do. You would continue to sell it in the conventional way that you would be SEO, but you would stand back and look how they're going to get the fastest return of investment is what you would want to offer. Obviously, if you go into Chicago and you want to do Chicago personal injury attorney in this niche, I would work on the website. That's a very hard map pins to go after to get inside that 7-pack. So it's based on competition, and we're going to touch on that, about how you're going to be able to know what to offer them before you even talk to them, so you know which direction that you could go to with SEO.
Now, to help us even more powerfully leverage this, we're going to, in terms of pricing, we talk about client acquisition, and I'm going to recap on that in a second. So how are we acquiring clients? How are we pricing things? And then how are we following up? How are we doing the follow-through? So each time we talk about client consulting, that's our game plan. That's how we're doing it. So we just touched on client getting. We got an overview of that. And then as we get into the in-depth on the technique, we'll be able to comment on that more powerfully, because you'll see the technique rolling out, and then that allows us to talk about it more. In terms of pricing, can we get an overview of how we price this? Of course, we'll be able to get more in depth as we roll out the actual step-by-step portion.
Sure. Pricing is the same as you would do with search engine optimization. I always do my pricing based upon lost revenue, which is if it's a company that sells bulldozers, and they're selling these bulldozers for $200,000 and they have a profit of $50,000, and if I bring them, I'd know that it's a search of 100, and I know that I'm going to bring them 2 or 3 clients. That's quite a bit of money. So I'm going to base the value that I'm going to bring them and what they're going to be able to keep after I leave. I don't go by cost per click or anything like that, because if you're dealing with something like bulldozers, it's probably going to be a pretty low cost per click. But the bottom line is they don't want to have to keep staying in that black hole. So something like a personal injury attorney that brings in a high dollar value, it's going to be a whole lot more than I'm going to charge for. Something that's far less, it's going to be less. So everything that I base pricing on is based on the value and the amount of clients and the search volume that's coming in for that keyword. So with what we're getting ready to show you right now, if someone, I know that there's 1,000 searches, and if I get them on page 1 or even in the top 3, I know that I can bring them an X amount of visitors to their site. Then if I only close it 3 things very, very conservatively, then I just look at how much I'm going to bring them as far as revenue goes. Then I charge a portion of that. So with a personal injury attorney, if I bring them 4 clients, I already know that that's a minimum of $10,000 a client. That's $40,000 a month. It's not out of the question for me to charge $4,000 to $8,000, depend upon and once again, we have to talk about the discovery form and how important that is. The information that I've gathered up front to know what their advertising expenditures are. It's very hard to get someone that's never spent any money whatsoever to all of a sudden give you $2,000 or $1,000. That's too big of a leap. But if someone's spending $10,000 a month, it's very easy for them to shift over $4,000 or $5,000 of that money over to you. So I try to target people and really gather the intelligence up front to know what their advertising expenditures are, so I know exactly how much to charge. So that's how I base all of my pricing on. We'll go a whole lot more in depth in pricing in other modules.
So powerful. Now, I'd like to point out what Cotton was just talking about with the discovery form. That's in Cotton's module. If you go to monetization, day job killer tab inside of monetization, then that's in Cotton's just legendary module in there, which is of course incredible. So we're not going to talk about that now because we've already covered it. Okay, so now that naturally transitions to the follow through. Again, we always do: how are we acquiring clients? How are we pricing? And then how are we following through? Which in this case really leads to us transitioning to the step-by-step portion of this training. Con, what's the can you tell us what the high level answer is to what's the concept behind how one ranks in the local listings?
What it basically is it's kind of an arms race. And how I'm going to show you right now is it's based upon how many accurate citations match Google Plus versus how many you have versus how many that actually have DA that are powered up. So we're going to go into exact depth and exactly what I mean with that in that formula here in just a second when I show you my screen. Okay,
great. Now, there's something that David Mills always talks about, which is thresholds. And one of the ways that this, and if you learn this lesson without understanding thresholds, you're not going to benefit from it nearly as much. So a threshold is like with a flash flood. You know, you can have a river that you can have an inch of rain, and it doesn't really affect the river. It's just an inch more of water or whatever, and it just goes along, and it's fine. But then you can get another quarter of an inch of rain, and boom, it could be total game changer. Everything changes. You flooding, and it can be dangerous and so forth. Likewise with SEO, and this is something learning about this is very powerful. I had a friend, Ken Giddens, a long time ago, who passed away, but he was quite an early trailblazer when it came to SEO. And Ken would tell a story with SEO, or it was a bit of a joke, where he'd say, well, two guys are walking in the woods, and they stumble across an angry mama bear, and one of them immediately sits down and starts lacing up his running shoes, and the other one says to the one who's lacing up his running shoes, well, what are you doing? That's a angry mama bear. She's extremely fast. You can't outrun her. And I told this story when we were in Dallas, and the guy racing up his running shoe says, what do you mean? I'm not trying to outrun the bear, right? Like, what are you talking about, the bear? Who said anything about racing the bear? Okay. And of course, the idea is he's going to outrace the other guy, right? And the bear will get the other guy, and then he'll get away. Which maybe it's a little bit mean, but it explains this concept. Those are a couple of angles on this because it's a threshold thing. You're talking about this for Chicago. It was some Chicago keyword when we were on the phone with you, right. Dave. Can you explain?
Right. Yeah, it's Chicago SEO. Do you want me to go ahead and share my screen now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Great. What we're going to talk about right now is how to rank inside of Google. It's been called Google Places, or people call it Google Maps, but it's now called Google My Business. And we're going to show you how, if you've never done this before, from a very new person, or if you're just starting out in OMG, or you want to build a new site, and even those that have a Google Plus business page, how you can move up the 7-pack and help your business out tremendously. The first thing that you'll want to do is obviously go to www.google.com/business, and from there we're going to click on Get on Google, and it's a pretty simple process. What we're going to do is we're going to see if your business is already listed on here. So we're just going to make up a brand new business. We're going to put, as Mike just said, Mama Bear SEO, which we know probably doesn't exist, at least I hope it doesn't. And obviously we can see that Mama Bear SEO did not come up on the search. So that would be a brand new company. And if yours isn't listed, this is how you'd go about doing it. You would then click on Add Your Business. So from there, you would want to be as accurate as possible. You'd want to put your business name, your street address, your city, exactly how you'd want it to be. Now, there is a trick to this. I have multiple Google Plus businesses, but obviously I'm just operating out of one area. So because we have a virtual business and we can rank in many different cities, we're going to want to create, if you're doing that, or if you need to create it in another city, just put your home address down. The reason is because Google is going to send you a postcard to validate your address. Once you get in the postcard to your address, if you wait about 5 business days, Google will let you update the address to whatever address that you want to put in there. And I've done this numerous times, and for my listings in Chicago, which I don't live in Chicago, I just find an address that I want in Chicago, change it over after about 4 or 5 business days. After I verified it, Google accepts it. Now I've got a Chicago listing that I can rank in the 7-packs, and that's how you can do for your clients as well. So once this is filled out, all it's basically doing is it's creating a brand new Google business page for you, a Google Plus business page for you. From that, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, what the local 7-pack is, this is it right here, and I pulled up an example of Chicago plumbers. And that's a pretty competitive niche in the Chicago area, and you can see there's some sites right now, and this is off my PC. If this was on a mobile search, these would probably come up first, not these sites up here. So obviously you can see that from the PC, there's an A pin all the way through G. And if you did a mobile search, Chicago plumbers is probably going to get a tremendous amount of phone calls because they are the very first pin that you see. It also gives the phone number. Normal people just tap it and call it, or they just do it there. So that's what's so powerful about this. If you look, there's still 10 listings on the page, but there's 7 additional listings on there. So there's really 17 listings on this page right now. That's why if you're the #1 pin, why it's so important, you would have a #3 listing, or in many cases, the pins show up first, you would have the #1 listing on the page. That's why this is tremendously powerful for local SEO. Once again, I'll reiterate, I do not sell this service included with SEO, with this 7-pack right here. I do this additionally. And it also depends on difficulty as well, and we're going to talk about that right now.
Right, Con, let me show, because I've got my 6+ here, and I'm going to try to make this show. Are you seeing it?
We're like still sharing my screen, so I like can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it? You can't see my screen?
No, I would have to actually stop sharing.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll try it as best as possible to corroborate what you're saying. So I pulled up Chicago Plumbing, and I'm not 100% sure how well this is going to come across, but I'll do my best.
Right.
I pulled up Chicago Plumbing. What I'm seeing is the paid listings first, and then I'm seeing cityofchicago.org, okay, with a list of licensed contractors. So that's the #1. But then, boom, 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 map listings like crazy.
Right.
Right. So I've got the map, and then we've got and Cotton is so easy. Why would I even go to the City of Chicago list of licensed plumbing contractors when right here in this 7-pack, and we can show this to people, right? We can show this to business owners. Right here, all I have to do, one touch, and I'm calling them.
Exactly.
One or two, maybe 2 touches, I'm calling them. There's also a directions that right there. So if I even want to cut out the middleman and not even bother calling them, if I want to go straight to their place of business, if it was a restaurant or something like that, and then finally, I've got a website listing right there. Plus, I can click in right on the map. So they make it so incredibly easy to use. And this is where a tremendous amount of Google's business is going right now.
Right. That's and you've just kind of touched on why it's so powerful. Google makes it so easy with these map pins to where, boom, all you literally have to do is touch a button and you're in contact with someone, especially from your cell phone.
And this is part of one of the things that we do at OMG for you is we really look wherever possible to connect the dots that need to be connected. Okay, so if somebody else were teaching some similar training, I mean, maybe you could find this somewhere if you dug around in enough forums. Now, you wouldn't know who to trust or who to listen to. Of course, with OMG, that's on lock. But additionally, getting these important angles, because Cotton is doing this. I'm doing this. We're doing this with our business. Okay, Cotton especially is killing it with this, and we do some stuff with local. But this particular technique, how Cotton's showing it today is even to me, which is great. Okay. Now remember, earlier I was talking about the mama bear. Okay, and the idea now, and Cotton's, I'm kind of going to set up what Cotton's about to tell you. In the past, what people might do is use Yext or Bright Local. With Yext, you can pay them around $500 per year to get around 50 citations from yellowbook.com or I don't know, local yellow or whatever. I can't think of any of the exact names right now, but regardless, they'll create those citation pages for you. But you're paying $500 per year for it, and the point is, 50 might do it, but 30 might do it. 30 citations might do it. 5 citations might do it, or you might really need 51 or 55 or 70. And then there's other things that we can do, like Cotton pointed out, to fine tune and adjust things. There's a little bit of powering things up with domain authority that really takes things much more in depth. So what we're learning here is much more strategic. So Cotton, with me having said that, take us inside.
Sure. One of the things I want to talk about Yext is because you already talked about it. Yext is $500 a year, but everyone uses it. The company is so popular that they're going public. So you automatically need to assume that the top dentists in a metropolitan area, the top lawyers, all of them are going to have a minimum of 50 citations. So you're just at normal, in my opinion, if you spend $500. I'm going to show you how you can avoid doing that and do it a far easier way, because you really need to know exactly how many citations that you need to build, and we're going to go into that right now. And if we look, I use something called WhiteSpark, and WhiteSpark has what they call a local citation finder, and it is an additional fee. It is $19 a month, but if you're going to do this, there's minimal cost in SEO. It is well worth its weight in gold. And what it basically does is you're going to enter in here, obviously, the country that you're in. You're going to enter in your city. You're going to enter in the keyword, and then you're going to hit search. And I've already done searches here for Chicago plumber in advance. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to show you exactly what it will show us. What it'll basically show us is the local 7-pack right here as we were looking at it in Google. And it's going to tell us exactly how many citations that each one has. I can click on it and I can view the actual citations that Chicago plumbers built to actually take that #1 spot in the 7-pack. And also it's going to give me a listing of, it tells me that in this local 7-pack, 629 different citations were used from all 7 different ones. So if I really wanted to go guns blazing and all out, I could go out and build 629 of these, and I could probably land myself inside the 7-pack. Now, we can look through the 7-pack right here, and we're going to notice something. The top one's got 169, the second one has 104, the third one has 184, then 167. Then we have one in here with just 50. But here's the thing about these 50. What really makes these citations and what things fire up in the maps is when we go over to a Google Plus listing, and let's just click on the Chicago Plumbers Google Plus page and go over to them. What it basically is the address that you enter in right now. And another thing that I want to point out is they don't have any reviews. So anyone that has told you that reviews get you in #1 position obviously is not correct. This is a very competitive niche. They don't have one review, yet they are #1 for the map listings. But here's why I know why they're so powerful. Because this address right here must remain consecutive with every citation that you build. In other words, if you have N for north, that has to be used on every citation you build. If you have AVE, that has to be exactly like that on every citation. This is so important that you pay attention to this. You cannot defer away from the address that you created on the Google Plus page. It must be identical. If there is a period after AVE, that throws it off. And I guarantee you that that is why this guy has 184 and why he's #3. He has a duplicate citation somewhere, or he has an address that is off somewhere. So, and then now we're going to go into, and you say, well, what is a citation? Well, right here is all the listings of all the citations of the 629. It can be Merchant Circle, Better Business Bureau, Nearest.u, obviously the Google Plus page, Facebook Business, Mojo pages. They're all listed right here, from Angie's List to MapQuest Super Pages. These are what citations are. And these are absolutely free to create. They don't cost you any money. You can go out and build these manually yourself. If you're on a tight budget, I don't care if you don't have any money. If you've got a computer and internet connection, and if you've got the time and you don't have the money to go out and pay someone to get these citations to build 184, at least you can do it yourself for free. All it's going to cost is time. So that's right in here is where you're going to look at. So let's go in and look at Chicago Plumbers and view their sources. And these are all of the citations that they have used to gain the #1 position. So that tells me that this is a pretty good map to follow. So if I build all of these and I go ahead and add another 100 and I go ahead and throw some PBNs on the back of the Better Business Bureau after I build it, or I throw a couple PBNs on back of the Facebook Business and build up the DA, because the DA is important. It can sort here if you want to build by the power of the DA.
Cotton, that's not going to change the domain authority. But it is going to change the page authority. Is that
there you go. Correct. You did right. I just got.
And let me just quickly distinguish for somebody if that zipped past them, because this is a critical distinction. Mm-hmm. So when we use the Moz toolbar, M-O-Z toolbar, mm-hmm. Which we can download free, you can just go to Google and type in Moz toolbar. It'll work on Firefox or Google Chrome. Right. Then when we view search listings, we're going to have a little bar appear underneath it, underneath each listing, and it's going to say DA, and it's also going to say PA. Okay, when we click it on the listing, it'll tell us what's the DA, which stands for domain authority, and PA, which stands for page authority. Now, the domain authority is going to be consistent throughout the domain. So if it's Facebook, DA is going to be 99. The whole thing. Facebook.com/ Icarus, which is one of my accounts. DA is 99. Go to /Cotton Grammar, DA is 99. But the page authority of them can vary radically. The page authority could be anywhere from 0, once again, all the way up to 100. And so the way that we influence the page authority, once again, is through backlinking, which we can use private blog networks. And there's a few other ways, of course, GSA and Magic and using Fiverr and so forth. For now, we're going to just focus in on using our private blog networks to do that. Please go ahead.
Just to kind of make it even more simple, just to touch on, you did a fantastic job explaining it, is he is right, DA never changes. When you start out with something like Facebook that has a DA 100, what drives it up is the page authority. Everyone starts out pretty much as 0. So look at that 100 is like nothing. It's the page authority, which is what's going to pump it up and what's going to get it ranked and everything. So what I would do is based on this, I know that in Chicago, if I want to take the #1 position, I myself, personally, I would want to go out and build 300 citations, and I want to see what happens, which is double. And I'm going to take a few of my PBNs that I've already purchased to rank my clients with, and I've already got to rank my money sites with, and I'm going to throw, a couple PBNs on the back of, my Twitter page, maybe my Pinterest, the Better Business Bureau, Yelp, Foursquare, and I'm going to power up the PA to get them a little bit stronger. That's going to help you move up the map pins as well.
And so what that can also potentially do, we won't always do this, but what that can potentially do is that can also potentially cause the BBB page, the Twitter page, the Facebook page to actually appear in the real Google search engine rankings as well, which of course you've seen a lot of from our domination section.
Absolutely. Along with rank your site, because your site's also linked in there. Okay. So it's helping things all across the board. It's very healthy to do. As Mike said, you might have your Twitter show up for your money page, along with, by powering up that Twitter, it's also powering up your money site. And it's also powering up the map pin, so it has a threefold effect. So it's very, very, very powerful.
Well, and let me get into another fold, Cotton, is when it comes to clients, now some clients won't care, they won't get it, that's fine. Mm-hmm. Some clients will go crazy over that idea. Whether it comes, whether you do it intentionally, go after it, or whether you just get lucky. But then you say, hey, look, by the way, your Facebook page is ranking. By the way, I have one client that I'm thinking of right now, and I told her that we powered up her BBB, and she went ballistic. She was so happy about it because she previously had a situation where all of her competition was appearing in the BBB, and she wasn't appearing in the BBB, and we stole BBB for her, right? So suddenly, in doing the same exact technique that you're talking about right now. So this, again, can just be very, very, very powerful. If you didn't understand what I said, that's more in your domination videos. That's a little bit tangential. And remember, we don't expect you to get all of this and figure out every last detail like right on your first viewing or the first time. And you can always jump in on the Facebook groups and ask questions and so forth. This is pretty hard-hitting stuff, so we're going to keep going. But I always like to share these details because this can impact what? Client acquisition, it can impact pricing, and it can impact follow-through.
Yeah, it's very, 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 very powerful. And obviously the next question is how do I go out and get these?
And Cotton, could you please hit Control+ a couple times so it sort of zooms this in a little bit?
Sure.
Thank you.
So what you're going to want to ask is how do I go out and build these 169 citations?
And by the way, Yext, you can see right here, Yext is not going to do, well, one guy right there, guarantee you, John Bathaki and Son Plumbing, that's almost certainly just the Yext listings, correct?
Exactly, right. And I'm going to tell you why. What makes Yext powerful is Yext builds citations, and you can control all of the addresses. So what they do is when they go out and create these citations, as I stated before, they make sure that the address is 100% accurate on all 50, and there's no duplicates. So what that tells me is that these guys up here have some duplicates, or they don't have some addresses that are correct. If someone can come in with 50, or they've got an SEO that's powered up these 50 pretty nice. So this is more than likely Yext. You were absolutely correct. So the next question is Cotton, I don't have $500 to go out and buy Yext. And what you could do is if you go.
And by the way, Yext just clearly is not enough to rank #1.
No, it really isn't, and it's a waste of money in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so you could obviously use WhiteSpark.
And by the way, Yext used to be a terrific deal. It's just that we have. This is one of the innovations with OMG. So, for example, in our domination section, we show us using Yext because at the time it was one of the best values out there. It was a perfectly good way of going. And of course, we gave alternatives, Bright Local and doing them yourself and so forth. But as things advance, as time goes on, and this is one of the powerful things about being inside of OMG, is just being up to step with things. You know, I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but it's just so powerful. You know, Cotton, one of the last webinars we did a few weeks ago was on your first 60 days inside of OMG and a couple other people's first 60 days. You build that foundation, and you get so strong, but also it helps you stay in step even easier. Like the second 60 days, much easier than the first 60 days. Not that the first 60 days is hard, it's exciting, and it's great. But every consecutive 60 days, now staying ahead of SEO and even trailblazing, really pretty easy for you.
Yeah. I like everything to OMG. I think the amazing foundation that was set with all the training is exactly what's taken me here today. So.
Well, but the way you're paying it forward is just incredible. Anyway, sorry. Please go ahead.
Sure. So Yext isn't the way to go. I don't want everyone to go out and spend $500. It's not necessary. If you want to, you can use WhiteSpark to do it. As you can see, submit your business. Tell us to submit the URL. They do about $4 a citation, but still, that could be very expensive if you look at it. Going out at $150, that would be a lot of money. So I'm going to show you how you can go out and do this a little bit.
To compare WhiteSpark to Yext, Yext is clearly $10 per listing. If it's 50 listings, right, $500 per year, then it's $10 per listing per year. With WhiteSpark, we're leasing that down to $4 per listing, period, not per year. And sometimes you do use WhiteSpark. When do you use WhiteSpark?
I use WhiteSpark when I want, if it's a very important client to me and I'm making a high amount of, or I've already made a lot of money off the SEO and I want it done very quickly, WhiteSpark can normally turn this around a whole lot faster than the other methods that I'm going to show you. So it really depends on your budget and how important your client is to you, because the other methods I'm going to show you can be not as reliable, but it's going to save you about 95% off of what obviously WhiteSpark or Yext would be. Okay,
and again, if this is this the kind of thing, and I really defer to your expertise because you're just the legendary when it comes to client getting and keeping and so forth. Now, would you ever basically offer the option to a client to choose between? You wouldn't say, well, do you want WhiteSpark or do you want the other method? And then with the WhiteSpark, you'll get this benefit and it'll cost you more. You probably, I have an inkling that you wouldn't do that. Why? Or would you?
No, I wouldn't. I don't let clients choose that part of. Why? Because I don't want that. It's almost like when you ask, you go out on a date and you say, hey, do you want to go see this movie, this movie, this movie, and you sit there for 15 minutes, instead of just going, hey, do you want to go see this movie? So I just tell them that I'm going to build the citations. They don't care how I'm building them. They just want them done. So it's literally your choice. You don't want to confuse the client with decisions they don't need to make, and then they start asking more questions, leads up to other stuff. So I just tell them that I'm going to get them ranked on the map listings, and that's it. And to their surprise, when I get done, I give them a list of their 300, like if I was going to try to take over Chicago Plumbers, I would then give them the list of all 300 citations with the email and login that I used to create them with, and they're happy. They really don't care.
How do you get them that listing? Are you able to export that from this system right here?
Yes, what they do is they build all of the citations with the same email address and the same password. So so you get that. Every method that I'm going to show you are hand built with one email address, and they give you the same password on all of the citations. So you can go in and make edits to them. The client can actually go in and log into them, and you can pass that information along to them so the client can take total control of them after you get them completed.
And so right here I see one entry that says export CSV with URLs. Is that what you're using?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Sure. And as I said, as Mike stated, Yext is about $10 a listing. Whitespark is about, is $4 a listing at 60% less. But then we can always go to old trusty Fiverr. and and as you see right here, they will go out and create 30 map citations for you for $5. And if you want to spend $10, they'll do 70. And I'm certain if you went out and got the list, and what I've done before is I've got this list, and I'm going to show you here in a second. There's a definitive list right here. We're going to talk about that there in a second. I can take this list and ask this guy, look, I've got an additional 150 that I want to do. How much would you charge me? He'll do it if you give him the list. So anyone that's doing this, just reach out to him and say, hey, look, I've got these 300 citations that I want to build. I know you're doing 70 for 10. Would you do 300 for 60 or 50? They will go absolutely. And so don't think that you have to stay in the parameters of Fiverr. Even though it says 30, look down below, there's 70. I can get this guy to do 300 if I give him the exact sites I want him to create. And if we backtrack also, I just pulled out one. There's several, and it doesn't matter if you're in the United States or not. They have some for Thailand listings, UK here, if like you're abroad, you can build 51 UK citations. There's different countries also. Just kind of look down. Here we'll do 40. Just pick one, get familiar with the guy, reach out to him, develop a relationship with them, and they'll generally take care of you. And they also know exactly what I've told you, that all of the addresses need to be 100% accurate from your Google Plus page all the way through on all of them. You're going to have to fill out a little bit more information than normal, because when you build a citation, they also want to know how many hours that your business is open, whether you're open on Saturday or Sunday. They're going to want a brief description of your business. You're going to have to fill out a little bit more things than you normally would just a social profile. But then also you can also go to, and I've never done this before, but I do have buddies that I know that are doing this. You go to Odesk. You can find a VA, and you can give them a list of citations that you have, that you want to build, and actually teach a VA how to go out and build these for you. You can get VAs anywhere from $2 up to $6 an hour, and you're going to have to work that out with them. This is just another idea if your time is tight, or if you don't want to build these yourselves, or you don't want to trust Fiverr. They'll go out and hand build these for you. And then the next question is, hey Cotton, how do I find all of these listings? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to include a PDF that like Mike can have for you to download. And here is a list of all U.S. citation sources. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. As you see me scrolling through right now, let me go ahead and plus this up so we can kind of see a little bit better. There's hundreds of these also. But not only that, you're also going to do things, the data aggregators also. This is kind of the secret sauce in all of these. You go, well, Cotton, what's a data aggregator? These is also what helps them push up the rankings even further. If you can get on Express Update, Factual, and Local Easy, these are three that are a must. This will bump you up a whole lot. This is kind of like putting gasoline on the fire right here, moving you up and down the map pins. These data aggregators, and we'll include that. And also there's industry-specific citations. And as you can see, this list goes on and on for doctors, health, hotels. It's very powerful to include them also. There's event sites. And as you see, we can scroll and scroll forever. I'm going to even put UK citations in there for you to look at as well. Canadian citations, all these, Australian. So all of this to suit you, and you can go out and build these yourself and it's very powerful and very important to get them in there. There's even, Muslim Business USA. So that's a citation that you can add there. But what we're basically trying to do, just to recap everything, we want to build over 169 citations that are accurate with this address consecutively through all of them that runs through this. Then we want to wait and find out what happens. If we don't end up in the 7-pack inside of 30 days, then what we want to do is start lightly sending PBNs to the back of some of the more powerful DA sites that I've showed you here. Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, anything on here, and just power those up a little bit, Vimeo, and find out, then sit back and wait anymore. I've had a tremendous amount of success. There's really no one out there. Everyone's scared of this 7-pack. There's no one out there that's really great at it, and I find that it's extremely easy to get in the 7-pack, even with think about how hard this niche is. It's a very hard niche, one of the largest cities in the United States. They just have 169. So I was able to get number one. I think if we look in, and we'll continue to use my site as an example, St. Louis SEO agency, and if we look, I'm the number one. Look what comes up first. My map listing. And there, KottnGrammar.com comes up number one for SEO. So look at that. And this right here is basically done with about 25 or 30 citations. That's it. I haven't had to go out and get on this big arms race of building hundreds. So if you look at it, for SEO agency, I have the number one pin, and right there I am there. So that's how easy it is and how low the competition is, and how this isn't widely taught or used anywhere, and how you can get a tremendous advantage with your client consulting by offering this service. And it's really easier, in my opinion, if you get into easier niches and in lesser competitive markets for you to make money than actually doing SEO. And in my opinion, it's just as powerful because this comes up first. Who are they going to call first? If someone was looking for St. Louis SEO agency, Resilient Solutions coming up number one, and they're going to go, well, I don't trust this, then boom, I'm right there as well. So that's why you want to have the 1-2 punch for your clients.
Yeah, and I want to point out that Kotten's revealing one of his websites, not completely invariably, very, very often. If we do go out and reveal one of our websites in marketing, or especially in our content, then we'll come under an unnatural amount of competition, an unnatural amount of negative SEO, and an unnatural, potential other kinds of scrutiny that we don't want. We're a little bit biting the bullet there for you, like the wingman diving on a hand grenade or whatever. And that's something that we're more and more getting away from. In this particular case, Kotten just threw that out there for you. But keep in mind, if you're watching this in perpetuity later on and you don't see Resilient Solution, well, it's probably because he put that in this video or something like that. But then, he's doing that for you going forward. That doesn't mean that he'll do that all the time, or, more and more we're kind of getting away from that because it literally, helps you less and less. But the lesson is really there. The lesson's there. That's current. That's right now. That's the current system they have. Of course, somebody could come in and undermine and so forth. Okay, now, Kotten, when it comes to let's recenter things. Client acquisition, pricing, follow through. Can we recap?
Sure. Client acquisition, you could literally go out and then do things a number of different ways. I don't want to go into the 80 different ways to go out and get clients. You can email, you can cold call, you can go by referrals. What I want you to focus on right now is your own personal money sites and how you can go out and create credibility for yourself and create more clients for yourself. And then we can go over different client getting methods here. But for instance, if Chicago plumbers, or if a plumber in Chicago was to come to me right now, and they was to say, look, I want to get inside this 7-pack, what I would basically do is I would just go into, SEMrush, and I would just kind of take this, and we'll go over this real briefly. And SEMrush is something that I love to use, just to give me an idea of what the competition is going to be like. And let me log in really quick. and just show you how I would do it, how I would kind of price things out. So let me log in one more time. Sometimes this takes a couple here. There we go. And let's just put in Chicago plumbers right up here. And we're going to do a search for it. And what it's going to tell me is it's going to show me that it's going to be about 1,300 searches. So look at all of the traffic that is right here. So what they're wanting to do is not only is this going to hit, so when we go back and when we look at, this is plumbers right here. This isn't just plumber. But when we go back and look at Chicago plumbers, it's going to rank for a lot of other stuff. Like if they just want to do Chicago plumber, it's going to come up also. They're like #1. So when we're looking at this, these map pins or ranking in this 7-pack is going to cover almost these top 4 when you search for it. So that's going to bring in, when you look at it, 3,000 searches a month that Chicago plumbers here with this listing is getting in all the phone calls for. I'm like willing to bet. They pretty much have a monopoly on the market. So if I'm going to get them inside of these, that is going to be a tremendous value for them. 3,000 searches, I can tell them that they're probably going to get, let's just be modest and say 1,000 of that is going to click on it. And of that 1,000, let's just say that we got 50 people to call. 50 people, they were able to close 8 clients. And I'm just using very conservatively low numbers here. So at a plumbing, I'm going to say that they're about 500. So let's like look at that. That like brought them in thousands of dollars worth of business, going at the lowest possible way to explain how they can make money. And I put all that in a video when I show it to them. And so with these guys here, I would probably end up charging them, I'm going to say about $3,500 a month to put in the local listings based on what information I got back. That's blindly doing it. If I knew that they were already spending thousands and thousands of dollars in yellow pages and other stuff, I'd probably charge them $4,000 or $5,000. So it's all dependent on what they're currently spending. But if I had to naked charge someone without getting any information right now, knowing that I could get the client and having it affordable to them, I'd say anywhere from $3,000 to $3,500 is what I would charge to get them inside the 7-pack. Hopefully that answers the question.
Very, very, very powerful. And in terms of follow through, we've explained the system to you step by step. And then one of the things that Cotton is adding onto it, keeping in mind, is the reporting of the citation. So we showed you how to report inside of Whitespark, and he's handing that to the client and saying, hey, listen, this is what I did for you to get you started. And then now what I'm going to do now from here on in on a monthly basis, the reason why you're paying per month, is I'm going to be doing smart things to protect, grow, and maintain, protect, and grow this. And that's going to be of great value to you.
Right. One of the things I want to add also, guys, is this 7-pack is no different than SEO. You sell it exactly the same. Don't tell people that you're going to create these citations and they're just going to magically be there. This could take as long as SEO, and I like to say this is an example that I've used with my clients many times, and they kind of understand it. You know, building trust up, whether it's either in this 7-pack or in SEO, it's kind of like you're like taking a website that's like a 50-pound overweight man that has to train for a half marathon. The guy's not going to lose all that weight in 1 month. He might do it in 2 months, but he really needs about 90 days to do it. Now he's going to need about another 2 months to train for this half marathon. That's about how long it takes to build trust up with Google. So don't go out and tell people, oh, I'm going to go out and create these citations and we're going to magically pop up there. You want to frame your client to let them know this is going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 months to get them inside the 7-pack. We don't know what algorithms can happen. We don't know what's going to happen with Google. They could pull the plug out on anything. It gives you time to recover. It gives you time and patience to get it there so you don't have to feel the pressure. When you sell this product based upon that analogy, and when you tell them that it's no different from SEO, that it's going to take about 6 months, it's going to take about $3,000 a month, it's going to take about $18,000 to complete, do you want it or not? You don't have any surprises or expectations, and you don't have your clients barking down your throat. I can't express how important it is So be upfront with your clients about this. You go, well, Cotton, that's crazy. I don't want to bring all that front. You know, the less you hide from your customers up front and the more honest you are, the less headaches you have with them through the entire relationship. So this is still a project that will take as long as SEO. It's not magic. It's not going to pop up overnight. So be sure and frame your clients before you sell it to them on exactly how long it's going to take. They'll be happy if you got there in 3 months. But if you tell them 3 months and it's going to take you 6, now you're the villain. So always tell people it's going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 months, and you need a grace period after that. That you can't predict Google, and that makes you the good guy. It makes your clients understand where you're coming from, stops a lot of problems in the future. I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, and I want to point out that I just wrapped up an acceleration Webby that's in your members area in the Mike Long coaching section. That is what was from Thursday, October 28th, and we really went in depth. It was mostly on affiliate marketing. It was with me, Joe Marfolio, who obviously people were really excited about him. Also, when it comes to the director's cut, and Mike Swanson was there, and Fletchy was on, so it was a real barn burner. And we really got inside of this matchmaking, this idea of properly setting expectations, doing it law of implication style. So powerful, so powerful. It really sets you apart from other people that are out there who are, you know, saying, "Oh, I'm going to give you the sun, moon, and stars tomorrow," right? Mm-hmm. You know, so what Cotton is saying is so invaluable, and you can refer back to that webinar to get even more training on that subject. Cotton, I think that this has been such a blockbuster, and it's so wonderful seeing the abundant nature of this because to just kind of wrap things up here, because people are getting a whole module here. This is so powerful. This module is so powerful, but they're getting it because of that up and coming director's cut, and because of the excitement that people have about it. And so it's just such a win-win.
I totally agree. I was happy to share it and provide it for everyone.
All right. Well, really appreciate you. I know that people are up on their feet cheering for you right now. If I had an applause button here, I would hit it because I know that people right now are just thrilled with this. I'm thrilled with it, and I know everyone's looking forward to the director's cut. So this is just gonna be awesome. Thank you so much, Cotton. I really appreciate it.
Sure. You're absolutely welcome. Thanks, Mike.